Okay, welcome back, guys. I don't know if this is gonna be recording as I wanted. Hopefully you guys are hearing me. Looks like you are if I go by the volume on OBS. So I'm actually trying OBS here because the NVIDIA um, capture thing was not capturing the screen correctly. So I've got OBS set up to use the capture hardware on my GTX card, and I think it's working. Let's get back over here. There we go. Took a little while for the app to wake up. Now, let's see. Only thing that's changed since you guys may have last seen it is I've put some what look like pontoons just to kind of be placeholders for what would be hovering points. I'm not going to do too much more work with this tank. It was just sort of I guess a placeholder concept piece. And as you can see, it functions. I don't know if you're hearing the keys on my keyboard being hit. I'm hoping not. But anyhow, that's working. The minimap is working. I'm not sure if I've had the minimap up and displayed before, but over here I can just display minimap. That's actually just a camera. I don't know if you can see this here. Let me drive backwards a bit. You see this little white thing here? Because I'm still in the editor mode, there's a little tiny camera icon right up here with the cursor is. This top center screen there. But above the tank is a camera looking down. It renders to a render texture, and that render texture is then displayed as a sprite. Actually, over here it's in a set of sprites. I just quickly whipped up a tiny little border just to see how it would look, and actually I'm quite impressed how easy Unity made that. So this is other than maybe a little bit more terrain fun in the next little bit, is an idea for me to play around with how easy getting the assets and setting them up in Unity are. I've had to test a few things. As you can see, the barrel is offset. That requires kind of a little bit of mechanics in the rig. If you could see the bones, and I'm not sure how to do that so that you guys can see it here, but there's a body pivot or a null object that holds all the visible things. Then above that you have the frame of the tank that you can see. Then there's another one that has the rotational point of the turret, which it rotates there. And then the elevation of the barrel is done on a second null or invisible object that is in line with the center pivot, and that allows for you to have the two axis components. If the barrel was fixed to the turret and the whole turret could move, then you could use a quaternion rotation and isolate those movements and move it that way. But because the barrel is offset from center and may not always be in the same part, it's just easier to create a second sub-object. Actually, I can show you that. Let's go here right quick. Let's open up the tank. Excuse me. Now, see this part here. That's the turret rotational center. That is actually an invisible object. I know it's lighting up the turret because it lights up every child object, but it's actually a invisible. It's an invisible center for the turret. I can undo that. Then the gun. That's actually the mesh that we see as the turret. So the nice thing about that is I could swap that artwork out real easy now. Yes, I'm not a terribly big fan with what I did for that. There's some issues with the mesh. And here we go. The turret, the turret L you see there is the elevation, or it's the invisible object that these two pieces of cylinder are mounted to, and they're just Unity cylinders. They're not I didn't model them outside of Unity. I was just trying to make this set up and ready to go. But yeah, you stack that all, and you basically end up with what my understanding a Unity prefab is. And there you go. Don't know that I've actually put it in there. Yeah, I guess I have. But yeah, that's that's pretty much out. There's some other hidden stuff like where Jimmo made some raycasters and have some little collision spheres. And the raycasters do the sensing down that you'd see. Let's just fire that back up again. They're indicated here by debug by those little debug lines. Okay, good. Now it's showing. I had the tank selected in the editor so you can see some of the control wires on it. But there's the little sensors that are just raycasts that measure the height from the ground that follow his script that decide how much hover force to apply based on some options you can set, like ride height and all that kind of jazz. But anyhow, minimap is easy to do. There's way more settings I could do for the minimap, and obviously better artwork and time. Tanks are going to be easy. This is kind of my little setup and play around area where I can load in the different tanks that I want to mess with and see if they're going to get used, and try them out and not break the actual application we're collaborating on. We'll call it my little safe sandbox. Anyhow, this is a little bit of an update. It's not a huge one. Not really any code for this one. The code really hasn't changed much at all. What I want to do very shortly is get secondary weapons on turrets figured out, at least from the art side, and then I need to go through and actually start taking some of the concepts that I've done for the tanks and bring them into 3D. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about if I'll just be scanning the concepts in and putting them here, or video, or how I'm going to do that. Obviously not all of them are going to show up here. Some of them are going to be saved for the project. So we'll deal with that when we get there. But anyhow, most of what I intended is working just fine. I've adjusted the camera. I don't know if I mentioned it before. The look at camera on this raises its height based on the difference distance the tank's away. And here, this would be one of those times that yeah, you get it to come to rest on one side when it does this. Then you can sometimes get away with using your turret depending on how you fell down. Yeah. Yep. You might as well let it spin right around. Sometimes you can use your turret to lift yourself off out of what is pretty much dead bug mode. Yeah. Oh well. I flipped over in a spot that I can't auto-write. That's something else to work on later. Anyhow, as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.